Here, first official live broadcast from the NBA 2K17. And what I wanted to bring to y'all attention today was Tracy McGrady. I heard this morning on the way to work. Toronto Raptor favorites, Tracy McGrady and Muggsy Bogues eligible for Hall of Fame this upcoming year. And my question to y'all is, what place in the Hall of Fame is there for players that have no MVPs and no rings? Because to me, Hall of Fame is champions, best of the best, record-setting seasons, not just casual all-star making league scorers that can't get out of the first round. To me, that does not constitute Hall of Fame. To bring to the point of McGrady going to the Hall of Fame and his partner in eligibility is Muggsy Bogues. McGrady clearly had the better career than Muggsy Bogues. But I would think even with a lesser career, Muggsy Bogues has a spot more deserved than McGrady, simply given on the fact he's 5'3". I don't think Bogues ever made an all-star team. I don't think Bogues ever made an all-NBA team. I don't think he led the league at anything at all. But I think he's more eligible in the Hall of Fame than Tracy McGrady. McGrady was a prototypical NBA player. Then he had all the tools to truly be a Hall of Famer. But simply put, the whole debate about who deserves more, Bogues or McGrady, I'd have to give it to Bogues, simply given on the fact he's a 5'3", 150-pound man who should have been a horse jockey that got a chance to play in the NBA. And not only play in the NBA, give himself a chance to even be considered in eligibility for the Hall of Fame. And to me, that's worth more of a story and more worthwhile than McGrady's story, who, he's a 6'8", 210, super athletic small forward who left his original team due to being on the bench to start, then led the league in scoring for 3 years in the league. Great. Got his team in the playoffs. But this guy never won an All-NBA. Never won a Defensive Player, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved. No awards. He's a multiple-time All-Star, which you could say for a lot of players who don't ever make an All-Star team. A lot of players are deserving never make it. McGrady had a chance to make it because of popularity and votes. But when you talk Hall of Fame, and you got to consider the Hall of Fame is reserved for the greatest players of all time, trendsetters, people who were greater than what they were just as a general basketball player or what they were on paper. They're greater than their perception. And I got to say, as good as McGrady was, he's like a Dominique, like a Len Bias, like Grant Hill, many other players that were all the talent in the world. First bunch of years set the trend and set the pace for a Hall of Fame career, but inevitably did not have the gusto, longevity, or you could consider the heart or desire to be what it takes to be a Hall of Famer. Because how can you consider one to be a Hall of Famer when they don't have what it takes to become a champion? And I'm not saying that all Hall of Famers need to be champions, because that'd be the Hall of Champions, but to prove my point here, goes to show, Muggsy Bogues had a lesser career than McGrady, but was far less of the prototypical superstar and far less gifted attributably and physically than someone that's given all the assets to succeed. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Bogues had a longer career than McGrady anyways. So, I mean, I understand both sides of the argument. People grew up with McGrady, saw him play. Some love McGrady, never even saw him play in Toronto. I'm from Toronto. I love the Raptors. I think we missed out on a dynasty with the McGrady-Carter tandem, because I think Carter turned soft as fucking pudding once McGrady left and didn't care anymore, collected paychecks. But ultimately, players like McGrady, Dominique, Karl Malone's the exception. He's one of those players that never won a championship, but is definitely worthy of the Hall of Fame. simply because of the longevity factor. I mean, you can't I really believe you can't consider players eligible for the Hall of Fame that had less than a substantial career lengthwise. Like you got Grant Hill. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He had 2 careers. He had a Hall of Fame potential career. Then he had a role player, bench player type career that lasted as long as his superstar career. But he came back and made a story, and his story wasn't written off. See, I'm talking too much. I ain't even paying attention to what I'm doing here. But Grant Hill's story wasn't written off due to injury. He came back and played another, I believe, 8 years. Nowhere near the same level he was on, but he was a player, and he played. I believe he finished with 18 years under his belt, and I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, the only reason I truly see Carter still playing is because that's all he's got to play for. This guy never won any MVPs, no awards, never got his team to nothing, no champion. But Carter has the pride of calling himself the oldest player in the league right now. And ultimately, he'll have the luxury and that honor of saying he played 20 years, which is a rarity in the NBA. And I mean, people say Kareem only scored 35,000 points because he played 20 years. But I mean, look how many players played 20 years and never even fucking scored 30,000 points. You know what I mean? You consider some of the greatest ever, like Shaq, amongst others, never even scored the 30,000 club. I believe that as the exclusive club belonged to what? Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. And I'm pretty sure that's it. There's only 4 players to score 30,000 points. If I'm wrong, then tell me. But I'm pretty sure I'm not. And if I'm wrong, you know, I'll fess up to that. But I don't know. The whole argument for Grady getting in the Hall of Fame, I mean, me as a fan, I'd vote for him because I'm from Toronto and, you know, he should be. But there's already Iverson in the Hall of Fame. And to me, he had the same career as McGrady. And McGrady never got an MVP. So, I mean, if Iverson's there, no championships, got a 1 MVP, great. But McGrady is not a 6-foot point guard that changed the dynamic of the game. He's a 6'8", athletic forward, all the tools, Vince Carter blood to do whatever he wants to do. Led the league in scoring, I believe, 3 years. Man, any good player could lead the league in scoring on a fucking shitty team. But you start to lead the league in scoring with a great team and with everyone on you every night knowing you're the best team in the game. And I'm referring to the Chicago Bulls in that reference. Don't get me wrong, McGrady was a player of his own in his own right. Never forget him. He should be remembered and, you know, acknowledged. But Hall of Fame worthy? Nah. I'd have to give it to Bogues over McGrady, just simply because he is a 5'3", trendsetter, shortest player ever, and had a longer career. I mean, longevity's got to say something. McGrady's one of those classic what-ifs, a Len Bias, a Grant Hill, Larry Johnson. All those guys started off hot, all the potential in the world, but then they slowed down for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't work out hard enough at the gym. Maybe they didn't have that winning desire. I mean, let's look at McGrady and Vince Carter for a second. Cousins. Ironically enough, didn't find out they were cousins until they played on the Raptors together. Me, from Toronto, Raptors fan, I thought we had a potential for a dynasty. Always knew what McGrady was capable of, but just like his cousin Vince, they lacked that killer mentality, that killer desire, that desire to be the best in the league. Because you know what happened? They very well could have been the best in the league, any one of them. But who was the best in the league at their time? Kobe. Kobe Bryant was definitively the best player comparatively to their position in the league in their era of playing. And the sad thing is, Kobe only won 1 MVP. 1 MVP. Kobe's the first ballot Hall of Famer. People compare him to Jordan. And he is the closest thing to Jordan in every aspect, but Kobe, it's robbery to me how he only got 1 MVP. Tell me how, in any logical sense of any history or any statistical nature of the NBA, how collectively Shaq and Kobe win 3 rings together, have a dynasty three-peat, yet there's 2 MVPs between them, and they knocked out Steve Nash every single year of the playoffs, and he got 2 MVPs. I don't understand. Like, I'm all for a Canadian MVP, but Come on, man. Steve Nash winning MVP with those numbers in those years with those players still around, there's no measure. Look at Kevin Johnson's early 90s career. This guy's put up like 28 points a game, like way better numbers than Nash. Never won an MVP. He's probably statistically the best Phoenix Suns player aside from Charles Barkley, but Barkley got one. Johnson got none. But tell me how in the hell, in any logical sense, that Steve Nash has 2 MVPs. It don't make no sense. And Kobe has 1? Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. In any event, it just goes to show you how the Hall of Fame isn't how it should be, man. People get it too easily. Even to me, Iverson's a question. But McGrady and Bogues, come on, man. You're talking like 5 All-Stars maybe between the 2 of them. 0 championships, 0 MVPs. Give it to Bogues because he's a trendsetter, smallest player ever in the NBA. McGrady, he let down himself on a chance for a dynasty legacy that was never there. And him and Vince are in the same boat. I would have put any of them in the MVP, in the Hall of Fame. No, reserve the Hall of Fame for moments in time where great players come to shine to win championships that otherwise would never get recognition. Leave it for champions that dominated the game. MVPs. Leave it to those who truly deserve it and truly made a difference, not those who casually made it to the All-Star game every year based on stats don't matter because they're on a crappy team and they just collect stats. That don't matter. McGrady, Carter, Carmelo Anthony, all these type players are the same category to me. They're not Hall of Fame worthy. Reggie Miller, Hall of Fame? Nah, bun him. But you want to put players in the Hall of Fame? Put Steve Kerr, hitting threes to win championships for the Bulls. 73-9 record. MVP, or Hall of Fame. You know, I got no debate with who's in there, but a lot of those candidates going in, Yao Ming, he should be there. Simply because he was a trendsetter. On the total opposite end of Muggsy Bogues. He was 7'6" from China, first Chinese player ever, and he did what he did. He played a short career, no longevity, but he made a difference in the game, which is what should count. Not just, you know, arbitrary stats that don't matter when you're playing at an average team. Not just getting to the first round and knocked out. The Hall of Fame should be reserved for champions, MVPs, and difference makers leading to championships. And that's truly how I feel. And I'm surprised I'm still in this game, given I'm only down by 4 and not even paying attention. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Is McGrady Hall of Fame worthy? I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe I'll disagree. I'll bring a debate. Holla at me. Brendo Dynamite. Y'all know what it is. I don't finish this game with concentration, so peace.